Hello and a warm welcome to Spectrum TV News at 2. I am Raymond Aitan. We're coming to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. Let's take a look at the day's headlines. President Buhari says President-elect Bola Tinubu will give Nigeria effective leadership. FG unveils Federal Public Service Entrepreneurship Program. Plus, Russian rocket attack damaged kindergarten and schools in Kramatorsk. We will bring you the details of these stories and more in a moment. Many thanks for joining us. We begin this afternoon with the news that President Muhammadu Buhari has said Nigeria would experience effective governance under the administration of President-elect Bola Tinubu. He noted that Tinubu had the political pedigree and experience to achieve this by May 29, when he would take over the leadership of the country. The president said this in a statement issued today by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina. According to him, his political pedigree from the 90s, an active role in party politics, being elected senator and later governor of Lagos State, and diligent involvement in the structure of leadership at the executive and legislative levels for many years will serve as assets for good and effective governance. And while President Buhari is set to flag up the third oil field in northern Nigeria, this was contained in a public announcement by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. But the oil field is located in Ebonyi at the headquarters of Obi local government area of Nasarawa State. According to reports, it is the second oil field in the north-central region. The first was in the Baji oil field in Kogi State. In the history of Nigeria's exploration, the Ebonyi oil field is the third in northern Nigeria, with the first located in Kolomani in the Bauchi-Gombe axis. Away from that, the federal government has launched the Federal Public Service Entrepreneurship Program, the FPSEP, to prepare workers for life after retirement in Abuja. Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folasade Esan, said her dream was for the emergence of a skillful and more productive workforce that would contribute meaningfully to the development of the country as employees as well as employers of labor within the provisions of extant rules. Esan, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Service Welfare Office, Dr. Ngozi Onwidwe, tasked civil servants to plug the knowledge garnered from their training at the FPSEP into agriculture and other business ventures that would enable them create multiple sources of income for self-sustenance while in service and after exiting the service. According to her, the Public Service Entrepreneurship Program was developed out of the need to pay greater attention to the welfare of the public servants who constitutes the administrative machinery for implementing government policies and programs. In a separate development, the House government, as well as oil companies and banks, over the alleged illegal sale of 48 million barrels of crude oil valued at $2.4 billion. The committee, in a notice to the invitees, also demanded memoranda from whistleblowers whose alarm had led to the recovery of public funds from corrupt individuals and organizations. Organizations and groups, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Group Chief Executive Officer, NNPCL, Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Attorney General of the Federation, the Director of Public Prosecutions of the Federation, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the Chief Executive, NUPRC, Former Chairman, Presidential Advisory on Recovery of Missing Crude Oil, former Director General, DSS, Lawal Musa Daura, Department of State Services, Nigeria Police Force, Interpol National Central Bureau, Nigeria, among others. Meanwhile, the chairman of the committee, Mark Bela, disclosed that the panel had not been officially inaugurated, as the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, was unavoidably absent to declare the hearing open, adding that the inauguration of the committee will hold on April 11. Away from that, barely 24 hours to the deadline given by the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC for the Labour movement has summoned a meeting of its National Executive Committee today to assess the situation and decide whether to proceed with the national protest or not. Now, reports say the NLC intends to brief the media and members of the public on plans for the picketing of CBN offices nationwide, scheduled to begin tomorrow, Wednesday. According to reports, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, and the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor, Godwin Emefiele, at a meeting held at the conference room of the Labour Ministry, said the Labour leaders have been told that efforts have been made to alleviate the currency scarcity across the country. Recall that the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, had yesterday met with the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, to avert the impending nationwide protest by the workers. In another development, the National Population Commission (NPC) has said it had put up measures to guard against all forms of malpractices ahead of the forthcoming population and housing census. The Commission also stressed that citizens living away from their states of origin do not need to travel home for the purpose of the exercise. It said people would be enumerated at their places of residence. Spokesperson for the NPC, Isiaka Yahaya, stated this in an interview with Newsman. Yahaya added that the Commission had not finished the recruitment process for enumerators. Staying with electoral matters, the Nigeria Police Force has said it recorded a total of 489 major electoral infractions during the February 25 presidential and March 18 governorship polls. Inspector General of Police Usman Baba Alkali made the disclosure during a meeting with senior police officers at the Goodluck Jonathan Peacekeeping Center of the Force Headquarters, Abuja. At the meeting were the Deputy Inspectors General of Police, the Assistant Inspectors General of Police, Commissioners of Police, and other members of the Force Management Team. While noting that the culprits will be prosecuted, Usman Baba said the police force will effectively collaborate with the leadership of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in ensuring that all the electoral offenders are expeditiously and transparently prosecuted, not only in the interest of criminal justice delivery, but in furtherance of their vision to sanitize the nation's democratic space.
Nobody, regardless of political persuasion, background, or influence, should place his or her personal interests above national interests. Accordingly, while admonishing all political actors and their followers to submit to democratic norms, peaceful means, and legal procedure in advancing their interests or seeking redress for their political concerns, I must firmly warn that the Nigeria Police and other security agencies shall not tolerate the resort to incitement or any act designed to threaten our national security. They are therefore advised in the strongest possible terms to henceforth draw back on current attempts to engender tension within the national security space to avoid attracting appropriate law enforcement response. In regard to this, feedbacks so far received across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT indicates that a total of 489 major electoral infractions, leading to the arrest of a total of 700
Away from that, former United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said that the bandits and terrorists in Nigeria will be defeated. Johnson made the statement at the 16th session of the Emmanuel Osigwe Lecture Series, which held in Lagos. The former Prime Minister, who was the guest speaker for the session, stated that for a country to function properly and unleash its potential, no one must be seen to be above the law, adding that Nigeria is in need of freedom, security, democracy, openness and tolerance to achieve urban success, as well as deliver equality and unleash its potential. And now to Africa, where U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, while in Ghana at the start of a Free Nation tour of Africa, has announced $100 million to support the fight against Islamist militants in West Africa. Harris said that her visit to Ghana was not because of China's influence in Africa, but rather to strengthen bilateral ties with its partners. According to reports, the coastal countries of Ghana, Benin, Ivory Coast and Togo are to benefit from the package. Recall that the region has been facing security threats from the ever-advancing jihadists operating in the Sahel. Staying with Africa, Chadian President Mohamed Idris has pardoned 259 people out of the 262 jailed in December during deadly confrontations between the police and protesters in the capital, N'Djamena. Reports say they had been convicted for offences including unauthorized assembly, destruction of property, arson, violence and assault during the clashes in which 73 people died. Meanwhile, the presidential pardon comes days after 380 rebels sentenced to life imprisonment for the death of former ruler Idris Deby, the current president's father, received the peace gesture. The late Idris Deby, who ruled the country for 30 years, died during an operation against rebels in 2021. On a foreign scene, Ukrainian authorities say a Russian rocket attack has damaged a kindergarten and a school in the city of Kramatorsk in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region. In a Telegram post, the Kramatorsk City Council said no casualties were reported, but 6 houses and a non-residential building were also damaged. The attack came after Russian missile strikes on nearby Sloviansk, which killed at least 2 people. Meanwhile, Pavlo Krylenko, the head of the Donetsk Regional Military Administration, said the number of people injured in Sloviansk was 28. Still on the foreign scene, German Defense Ministry says the first shipment of Leopard 2 tanks from Germany has been sent to Ukraine. A further report said 18 cutting-edge main battle tanks were delivered after Ukrainian crews were trained to use them. Also, Ukraine Challenger 2 tanks from the UK have also arrived. Meanwhile, Germany's defense minister Boris Pistorius said he was sure the tanks could make a decisive contribution at the front lines of the war. Recall that Ukraine has been calling for more modern vehicles and weapon systems for months to help fight the Russian invasion.
Leopard tanks, as we announced.
En daarmee blijft ook die Europese boodschap, ook na ruim een jaar, volstrekt duidelijk. Namelijk, wij steunen Oekraïne op alle terreinen en dat doen we zolang het nodig is. Gewijzigd om dat mogelijk te maken. Wij houden natuurlijk samen met onze NAVO-bondgenoten die situatie heel precies in de gaten. Maar het is ook echt retoriek. En Rusland weet dat de gevolgen enorm zullen zijn als zij gebruik zouden maken van dat soort wapens. Dat heeft ook de Amerikaanse National Security Advisor gezegd al vorig jaar.
You're watching Spectrum TV News at 2. Still to come in the news. Nigeria beat Sierra Leone in women's T20 cricket tournament. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us, and on to the rest of the news. And now in business, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Niyi Adebayo, has said that efforts to address identified lapses in the existing Bankruptcy Act would commence with a national conference on bankruptcy and debt collection in May. Adebayo made the statement at the third Trade Negotiation Skills TNS Simulation course, which was organized by the Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiations in collaboration with the Overseas Development Institute and the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office (FCDO) of the United Kingdom. The minister pointed out that the move, which was in line with the Trade Policy Action Plan of 2022 to 2026 of the federal government, would help to develop an institutional and regulatory framework to regulate business behavior and ensure that only viable concerns continue to operate, adding that the new framework would also include the establishment of debt collection offices in the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. He noted that part of the objectives was to contribute to the creation of a modern 21st century credit economy for the benefit of producers, retailers, and consumers in the country, disclosing that work had been concluded on the Nigerian templates for free trade agreements and a mutual recognition agreement for standards and professional qualifications. But still in business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, says it has released 418 million litres of petrol between March 18 and March 24. According to new data from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, 59 million litres of the product were evacuated daily, even as year-to-date daily average remained at 64.94 million litres during the period. However, the data indicates that between March 4 and 24, a total of 1.46 billion litres of petrol were evacuated to state, and the top receiving states during the period were Lagos, where 1,957 trucks were dispatched, the Federal Capital Territory with 550 truckloads, while Delta State received 508 trucks of the product. Let's talk health now, where Nigeria is set to tackle diphtheria with €150,000 gifts from the European Union. In a statement issued by the delegation of the European Union to Nigeria and the Economic Community of West African States (ECOWAS), the allocation was in response to the significant increase in diphtheria cases recorded since the beginning of 2023 in Nigeria. A report says the humanitarian fund will assist the most affected communities of Kano, Katsina, Lagos, and Osun State. Recall that on January 20, 2023, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention officially declared an outbreak of diphtheria in Kano and Lagos after several suspected cases appeared a month earlier. Still in health, Bauchi State has reportedly recorded 7,806 cases of tuberculosis in 2022. Executive Secretary, Bauchi State Agency for the Control of HIV and AIDS, Tuberculosis, Leprosy and Malaria, Sani Mohammed, stated this at a news conference in Bauchi. Mohammed, who was represented by the Commissioner for Health, Sabiu Gwalabe, at the news conference, said the figure was an increase of 2,154 over the 5,652 recorded cases in 2021, adding that the state government, in collaboration with implementing partners such as Breakthrough Action Nigeria, was conducting active case findings across Bauchi State. He, however, noted that 2023 World Tuberculosis Day would be celebrated with a series of phone-in television and radio programs to increase awareness. And now in sports, Nigeria's senior women's cricket team, the female Yellow Greens, will hope to make it 2 wins in a row when they take on debutants Cameroon in their second game of the NCF T20 tournament in Lagos today. The female Yellow Greens began their campaign with a 6-wicket win over Sierra Leone in the opening game of the tournament yesterday. But Sierra Leone won the toss and chose to bat first. However, they could only manage 65 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in 19 overs, and that left Nigeria to do the bare minimum to win the game. Well, Nigeria initially struggled with the batting in the second innings and still posted 67 runs with a loss of 3 wickets in 14 overs. Meanwhile, Nigeria's coach Leke Oyede said he was impressed by the turnaround and is confident that his team will improve with every game in the tournament. Staying with sports, the Republic as Benjamin Pavard's superb second-half strike gave France victory in Dublin. Having held the French in the first half of few chances, the Republic fell behind 5 minutes after the restart, when Pavard intercepted a Josh Cullen pass and fired past goalkeeper Gavin Bazunu. The Republic put the beaten World Cup finalist under severe pressure late on, but fell short as Mike McNean's stunning save denied Nathan Collins a late leveller. The Republic's next qualifier sees them travel to Greece on 16th of June. And now in entertainment, Nigerian international music stars Wizkid and Tems have both won an award at the 2023 iHeart Radio Awards. A report said the duo who delivered the international hit Essence shared the Best Afrobeat Artist Award, defeating other Afrobeat stars like CK, Fireboy and Burna Boy to take home the award. Tems, who is said to have won the Best Hip-Hop Song for her contributions to Future's Wait For You, was also nominated for Best R&B Song for her hit single Free Mind. Meanwhile, the 2023 iHeart Radio Awards was held at the Dolby Theatre in Los Angeles, California, and it was hosted by Lenny Kravitz. Still on entertainment, Benin singer Angelique Kidjo is set to have won the 2023 Polo Music Prize, along with Britain's Chris Blackwell, the founder of Island Records, and Estonian composer Avro Part. According to organizers of the Sweden's Polo Music Prize, Kidjo, who sings in native Fon and Yoruba languages as well as in French and English, is one of the greatest singers and songwriters in international music. The music award organizers said the laureates will receive their 600,000 krona, that's $58,000 prize, at a ceremony in Stockholm in May 23rd. But that's all we have for you at this time. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Don't forget you can follow us on all of our social media platforms and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website. Just search spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching the news at 2. Thanks for joining us. I'm Raymond Ita. Enjoy the rest of your day.